Hello and welcome to Positively United today, Monday the 2nd of March 2026. And these are the 5 insights I think we can draw from yesterday's 2-1 win against Crystal Palace. Hard-fought win in the end. I think Palace definitely had the better of the first half and went 1-0 up at half-time. That's the first time I think Carrick has gone in down at half-time, and we turned it around. And before anybody says it was all about the penalty and the sending off, we were getting on top of the game before the sending off and before the penalty. That's why the penalty and the sending off happened. We were starting to get on top, and Palace, I think, who were tiring already by then. That was the 55th minute, wasn't it? I think Palace were already tiring. And it was already, I think, it was clear the direction of travel in the game. Okay, sometimes you don't get the goals, and the penalty definitely helped, but it wasn't just about the penalty and the sending off. We were getting to be the better team by that stage, without a shadow of a doubt. But still some concerning signs, which I'll address in the 5 insights. Let's have a look at them now. Let's get back to that, sorry. So the first one. Problems on our left. Now, these have been evident now for a number of games. I mentioned in the 5 Insights program after the West Ham game that I was really disappointed in Luke Shaw in that game, because whenever Luke Shaw got the ball, and he was playing really high up in that game down the left, he was getting some really good positions, but when he got in the positions, he just wouldn't go forward and cross the ball. He would immediately come back onto his right foot and then pass it in. Now, why he did that, I've sort of no idea. He's a left-footed left back, but for whatever reason, Shaw didn't want to go down the line and cross. Like a pace, like a stamina, who knows? But it was a problem in that game, and it was such a problem in yesterday's game. Shaw obviously got substituted around about 22, 23 minutes, something like that. And then Mazraoui came on. And the problem got worse because, of course, Mazraoui is a naturally right-footed player. And he played narrower than Shaw would play when moving forward, and was even more likely to come in on his right foot and essentially pass the ball into a highly congested midfield. So it was exactly like West Ham, kind of like only worse, because now we were 1-0 down after 4 minutes. And the lack of width really caused us problems. Now, Cunha obviously is playing on the left too, or was yesterday in the game. Cunha is not an out-and-out left-winger, of course he isn't. He is sort of in the channel's left side, attacker, midfielder attacker. So he's not playing on the wing, right on the left-hand side. He's playing in the zone between the middle and the left. He's playing in that channel. So all the way through the game, it's actually, by the way, it was the channel where he eventually won the penalty, so let's not knock it. But if Cunha is going to be playing in that channel, he needs somebody to go down the left-hand side on his left to make space for him to draw a defender away and to cross. And we just don't have it at the moment. We have it a little bit more on the right because Dalot, who had a really disappointing game yesterday, but at least he is willing to stick more on the right and go further and cross. Whether his crosses are any good or not is a different matter, but he is at least willing to do that. Yesterday on the left, we had nobody willing to do it. Some people have pointed out it got better with Mazraoui in the second half. I didn't see it myself, I have to say. I thought Mazraoui did okay as a defender, but not well at all as a attacking defender, an attacking fullback, a wing-back type fullback. It's a real problem because we don't have Dorgu, he's injured, and we don't have Harry Amass, he's injured. From what I understand, both Shaw and Maguire left the field yesterday not because of physical injury, but because of feeling unwell. And that would explain why Shaw looked he really looked bad, didn't he, when he went off? And Maguire was holding his head. I guess he must have had a headache or something. But both players left because of illness rather than injury, which is sort of good news for maybe Wednesday. Will they be okay by Wednesday? I don't know. But, well, it's a damn sight better than a long-term injury for both of them, which would be, in Shaw's case, disastrous, because we've got literally no one to put in that place. I have heard a couple of people suggesting, however mad it might sound, that maybe put Ahmad as the left back. Could he be worse than Shaw at the moment? I suppose he could be, because Shaw is a good defender, but he's offering nothing going forward, and I thought Mazraoui offered us nothing going forward either. The one thing I would certainly do is, if Shaw isn't back for Wednesday and Mazraoui is playing again, I would certainly put Mazraoui on as the right full back and bring Dalot over to the left. Now, I know Dalot is probably better on the right than he is on the left, but yesterday I thought Mazraoui was much worse on the left than he usually is on the right. So I think it's worth at least starting the game on Wednesday, if it is Mazraoui and Dalot who are the full-backs, to play Mazraoui on the right and Dalot on the left. I think it's worth it. It'd be interesting to know if Leacher is fit for Wednesday, because if Leacher is fit for Wednesday, and I don't want him to be rushed back, but if he is fit, it'd be interesting to see, could he play left back? I think it would make sense if he could, because we genuinely need some quality on the left, and we don't have it at the moment. The next insight from Crystal Palace, the midfield malaise. In the first half, Crystal Palace won the midfield. And Adam Wharton had a bit of a chance, didn't he, to audition for the role of Manchester United midfielder. And he did really well, I thought, in the first half. I thought he was by far the best midfielder on the pitch in the first half. Let's stick with Wharton. A really impressive first half performance. Second half, fell off a cliff. He looked totally exhausted in the second half. And when he eventually was substituted, what was it, around about the 55th minute, something like that, he looked as if he could hardly walk when he was walking off the pitch. He looked absolutely knackered. And the one thing that you do read about Wharton is that there are obviously other clubs than United interested in him, apparently particularly Liverpool. But there does appear to be concern about Wharton amongst those who are looking at him, about his stamina and his fitness levels. And if yesterday was anything to go by, this looks like a player who simply cannot play a game on a Thursday and then on a Sunday, because he was finished in the second half. And that's the second time that's happened, isn't it? Because didn't that happen in the game at Palace? There's some warning signs there, I think. Because it's fitting the picture that is being put together by some people about Wharton being a really, really fine player, but lacking stamina. Anyway, we'll wait and see. But anyway, Casemiro did get better as the game went on, and he did create chances, and he should have scored. Mainu was really quiet, I thought. He wasn't bad, and he was still able to, he was still open to take the ball and to create space and to create time and to try and play a progressive ball. And he was involved in duels and all that sort of stuff, but it just felt a really quiet game for Mainu, the quietest game I think he's had under Carrick. And where I am is where I've been for a number of weeks if you've been watching this channel. I thought yesterday was crying out for a midfield substitute. I thought it was crying out for either Casemiro or Mainu, probably Mainu, to be taken off for a rest and to liven things up in the midfield. But the problem that Carrick has got, let's be honest, he's looking at that bench and he's not seeing the quality he wants to bring on. It's not Ugarte, is it? That's the problem. Because it's not just a question if you bring Ugarte on things don't improve or he's not good enough to improve it, things get worse with Agati on the pitch. We tend to get run through. He gives the ball away far too often. And if you think about it, it wasn't a particularly comfortable end to the game yesterday. Despite the fact that Palace were down to 10 men, they were still creating chances right up to the very final moment. What was it, 8 minutes of added on time because of the time wasted with the penalty in the VAR. By the way, why did it take VAR to take so long to get to that conclusion? It was either a penalty and a sending off, or it wasn't a penalty and not a sending off. But frankly, it was pretty... just make up your mind, VAR. Seriously. But Crystal Palace were playing right to the end. And I guess the thought that must have been running through Carrick's mind was, I can't bring Agate on. Because if I do, he's going to give the ball away. We can't afford that. This is a real problem for United, and it is why we ought to have taken the player on loan in January in midfield. Convinced of that. I really hope that doesn't come back to bite us. But I don't know what we do in the next game. I think if there were more players available, I think Carrick would be considering rotating in the defensive midfield positions. Certainly, I think he'd be thinking, if he started with Mainu and Casemiro, he'd be thinking of making a substitute in the 50s or the 60th minute, something like that. But he just doesn't have the player. So it is a problem, our defensive midfield positions. Next insight. Is Cunha underappreciated? Oh, he definitely is. I saw people yesterday complaining about Cunha, and they've been complaining about it for quite some time, but he hasn't lived up to expectations. He's not as good as he was at Wolves. I think that's all nonsense, by the way. I think he's been absolutely fantastic since he joined us. And yesterday, you saw the value of this man. He doesn't have to play brilliantly through the whole game. He doesn't have to score goals in every game. He doesn't even have to assist in every game. Because what he's also got to offer is just making defences miserable and uncomfortable. You saw it yesterday. Now, whether it was a penalty or not, whether it was even a foul or not, who cares? We got it. We got the decision. It brought us back into the game. The thing is that Cunha makes that happen. He makes it happen. Down that channel, on the left, not a left winger, not in the centre, down the gap. The defender has to go with him. He's quicker than the defender. He's direct. He's powerful. He forces the challenge. Now, whether the challenge is a free kick or not, whether it's in the penalty area or not, whether it's a sending off or not, doesn't matter. For the purposes of this discussion, what matters is Cunha makes that happen. And I don't think that's appreciated at all by some fans. It is by some, but not all. And it is a real skill. You might not like it as a skill, but it is a real skill. Making defenders make mistakes is a real skill. And Cunha's got it in spades. I think he's by far the best at doing it of our front players. Of our attacking midfielders and our attacker, he's the best at making defenders' lives miserable. A little bit more love, I think, for Cunha, and that skill that he's got is quite in order. He's definitely underappreciated. Should our forwards rotate more often? When Ahmad came on as a substitute late in the second half, I thought he was excellent. Really, really excellent. He's very, very... he was on the game. He was direct. He was forceful. He was always angling to go forward. He created some good chances. He was really, really excellent when he came on. It looked like he had a point to prove. There you go. A bit of rotation in our attacking midfield. I'm not talking about Bruno, who's kind of like undroppable. Yeah. But Cunha and Mbeumo, Ahmad and Šeško, I feel the future between now and the end of the season is them rotating. I don't think Šeško is going to start every game between now and the end of the season. But I don't think Mbeumo is, I don't think Cunha is, and I don't think Ahmad is. I think they're going to rotate more than we've seen recently. And I think that would be a good thing. because they'll remain fresh. It'll keep the opposition guessing, and those players will be on their toes. So, prediction, more rotation between Cunha and Bumo, Shesko and Ahmad, because it really looked like it had done Ahmad a power of good yesterday. And then finally, Bruno. He's heading for player of the season, isn't he? And I just don't mean, by the way, there's no question mark at that. He's heading for player of the season. Definitely Manchester United player of the season, without a shadow of a doubt. But surely he is also an absolute front runner, if not the front runner, for player of the year, player of the season in the big awards, the PFA and the Football Writers player of the year. He's got to win, hasn't he? He's the best player in the Premier League. If you look at the teams who are in front of us at the moment, Man City and Arsenal, I'm sorry, they don't have a player who is currently playing as well as Bruno. Bruno's playing on a totally different level at the moment. The man's stamina, energy, his commitment is just astonishing. But it's not just physical stuff. It's not just like being the Energizer Bunny. The balls are so intelligent. The assists, the goals, the ice-cool penalty he took yesterday to get us back into the game. This man's playing on a different level at the moment. It makes you weep to think that half the season for him was wasted in a defensive midfield role. Good grief. Yeah. Liberated, put into his proper number 10 role. He's showing us what a magnificent player he is. And do remember, by the way, there were people last summer, at the end of last season, before we'd even played in the Europa League final, there were people who purport to follow this club who were campaigning for him to be sold. And they were going to spend the money on Carlos Baleba. Let that be a lesson. No, Bruno is different class at the moment. Our best player, I think the best player in the Premier League. I think it's about time that Bruno got the recognition that he deserves outside of Manchester United. I really hope it happens from this season. And I really hope he stays with us for next season. I don't think there's any reason why he oughtn't to. And I think you can seriously build a Premiership winning team around Bruno Fernandes. I really do. Get the best possible replacement we can for Casemiro. Fill the gaps in the team that we know we need to fill. We know we need a right back. By next season, we'll have Dorgu fit again. We'll have Harry Amas fit again. It kind of like takes care of the left full back position, in my opinion, and the left winger position. But, you know, we can buy more. But get the right purchases made in the summer. Build a team around Bruno Fernandes. And make sure we choose the right coach, not the hipster option. And I think next season is one that I certainly would look forward to with a whole load of eagerness and confidence. Right, so those are my 5 insights in the game against Crystal Palace yesterday. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you think you've got somebody who would be interested in watching this channel and the approach that I take on it. Do let them know about the channel. Encourage them to subscribe too. Hit the bell. That will let you know when new videos are coming out. Follow me on X. The link is in the description, as is a link to my Coffee account. Any donations would be gratefully received. They would go to upping the tech quality of the channel, the graphical quality of the channel, and would allow me to promote the channel. I don't do any promotion at the moment. But yeah, all those are described in the description. Whatever you can do, gratefully appreciated. So until we meet again, which I guess will be tomorrow, I'll do the predicted lineup for the game against Newcastle, because we're playing them on Wednesday. That will be a tough game, in my opinion. So, yeah, the next video that will come out will be the predicted 11 for the game against Newcastle. But until then, remain positively united.